I want her. Thomas laughed loudly. You can get any woman in the world and that's the one you want? What's that supposed to mean? You know what it means. He shook his head as he got out of his chair with a stack of papers. What do you have planned for the day? Absolutely nothing, I said. I'd cancelled my appearance at the sneaker company to be here, as well as everything else my agent had lined up for me while visiting New York. I told him I wasn't here on football business, and he needed to respect that. It was also the only 3 weeks of the entire year I had to myself. That's your problem, Thomas said as I stood up and joined him in walking out of the conference room. You're not used to not being busy. Go find yourself a woman to fuck while you're here, preferably one that owns an apartment a little bigger than the guest room closet in yours. He turned and went back to his office before I could answer him, and I headed downstairs with that thought in mind. Of course, he expected me to find a woman to fuck while I was here. It was what I did. Well, what I used to do. I like to think I wasn't that guy anymore, but the only thing I wanted to do was proposition Camila. It's not like she would say no. This isn't the Harlem I remember, I said quietly. When was the last time you were in town? Antoine asked. Never was on the tip of my tongue, but I couldn't even bring myself to say it. The only time I'd ever seen these streets was on music videos and movies and other places no real New Yorker would ever attest to. Yet there I was, 17 years after moving out of the country, in Harlem. One of the things I wanted to do when I got to New York was take an Uber, for the mere reason that I could never do something like that back home. Also, it made me feel more like a New Yorker. Although the few times I'd visited since moving away, I realized that true New Yorkers would never accept me as one of their own. I couldn't blame them. I didn't know what trains to take where, and even if I did get the hang of that, I had drivers at my disposal. I'd told my brother to hold off on the drivers this time around. I wanted to experience the real New York. The only problem was I wasn't the kind of person who could walk around the city and go unnoticed for too long, as Antoine the Uber driver proved by noticing me and calling me by my moniker, Warzone, as soon as I slid into his town car. The last time I'd been here, nobody recognized me. In the States, American football players, baseball players, hockey players, basketball players, even the damn golf players were the gods. Football players, the real football, were just a bunch of guys chasing after a ball for 90 minutes. This trip I'd already received a lot more recognition than I'd imagined or hoped for. Your season starts soon, right? He asked on our drive. Yes, practice begins in a few weeks. Do you miss it when you're not playing? You keep busy? During our drive, I learned that Antoine had gone to college on an American football scholarship and had dreams of making it big. According to him, he wasn't good enough for the NFL right off the bat, so he came back home. I don't really know what to do with myself when I'm not playing, I said, looking out the window. Do you miss playing? I do, but it is what it is. We were quiet until we came to a complete stop in front of a strip mall. I heard they want to tear down this whole neighborhood, he said. I blinked away from the storefronts and looked at him. Just this block, I think, I said. I'm sure the apartment building will look better once the builders are done with it. He sucked his teeth, his disapproving eyes meeting mine in the rear view. That's what they said about 21st, and look at how that's coming along. I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't care, either. How much would I have to pay you to wait for me? Antoine smiled. How long will you be? I glanced away, back toward the strip. Groups of people were continuously walking along the sidewalk. Some entered Scully's bar at the end, which I knew belonged to Charlie Ferguson. Others walked into the cupcake shop beside it. Most of them strolled past the strip altogether. A light switching off caught my attention. The door swung open and shut shortly after, and my heart gave 2 quick, strong pounds, some sort of adrenaline building up inside me as I looked at her, before going back to normal speed. It was her.